it, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel and then click on that bell notification so you're notified every single time I post another video. I know this looks a little different, but I want you to stick around until the end because I want to try this. So leave me some comments below as we go to let me know what you think, but we're gonna hop straight into this. Let's answer some of these questions. Does oil go on the scalp? And what is the difference between an oil and a serum? These are the questions that people ask, but before we get started, can you do me a favor and help me spread the word? Because the more recommendations I get, the more content I can create for you guys. So if I've ever helped you in any type of way, whether you're a client of mine, or anything, just watching my videos, make sure you leave me a creators review on my website, link in the description box below. I appreciate it so much. Read some of the ones that are already there. So let's hop right into this. Comedogenic and non-comedogenic. These are the two categories that oils and serums are broken into. Now, in the natural care community, we do a lot of different challenges, or I shouldn't even say the natural hair community, just period. On YouTube, we do a lot of different challenges, and we like to use ourselves as test dummies, and that is okay. But I really need you to understand what you're doing as you're doing it. And because oils are broken down into these two categories, certain oils do not go on the scalp. So you won't keep hearing me say this word over and over again. We're gonna say CG and non-CG for short, okay? Now, as you are picking the oils that you choose to use on the scalp, you need to make sure that these oils are not CG. And CG oils are the type of oils that clog the follicles and the pores, and this is so important. And I know a lot of people probably have never heard of this. Leave me some comments below if you've never heard of this, but this is one of the main reasons why Jamaican black castor oil is not a oil that goes on the scalp on a daily basis. This CG scale goes from 0 to 5, and Jamaican black castor oil is level 1. Even though it's a level 1 on a scale from 0 to 5, on a scale from 0 to 5, it's a 1. It's still a 1, which means it does still have the ability to clog the pores and the follicle. So this is not an oil that goes on the scalp every single day. Those of you doing the castor oil challenge, you need to limit it to about once a week, okay? If you want to know more detail, really in-depth detail, make sure that you get your copy of my brand new ebook. It is 89 pages, and in those 89 pages, not only do you learn a whole lot of what I'm talking about right now in detail, but you also have the printable copy and your own personal journal edited by yours truly. So if you want that out, and if you want to keep a diary and keep track of your hair growth journey, then download it. Boom. So another oil that I want to talk about is coconut oil. Coconut oil is very high on the CG scale. It is at a level 4, and remember, this scale goes from 0 to 5. Yes, we love coconut oil, but understand that coconut oil is going to clog the follicle. It is going to clog the follicle, and not only is it going to clog the follicle, but it is protein seeking. So if you have high porosity hair, it's clogging the follicles of your scalp, and it is sucking the remaining protein that you have in your hair. Okay, so the non-CG, this is a whole nother thing. There are so many different oils, and oils can be derived from so many different things. We're going to talk about that in a second, but non-CG oils, these are the carrier oils that you are mixing with your essential oils. They will not clog or block the follicles or pores, and this is very important. It's important that you know the difference between the two. It's not that CG oils are bad and non-CG oils are good. It's that they both have their own individual purposes and usage. So because we are all trying all of these different things on our hair, we don't understand which oil to put in which category. And that is why I'm making videos like this, because I really want us to understand the science of our hair. It is so important and it makes such a big difference. So the next question would be, how are oils made? And we all get really confused because we think that essential oils and a carrier oil are the same exact thing, and they are not the same thing. So when it comes to essential oils are taken from the essence of the plant. So this is in its purest form. There are a lot of different processes in which this is done. Make sure you check the link in the description box below. That little excerpt in the phone, that is, a little clip from an ebook. Download yours. But a carrier oil is different, or just the oil in general is different. It is pressed from different parts of the plant, and most of the different oils that we know of come from different seeds of certain plants. But you can either cold press them, or it's pressed like in this machine where it adds a whole bunch of pressure at one time. So there are a lot of different ways that you can extract oils. So when we're dealing with oils and when we're dealing with essential oils, they are very different. Essential oils are never ever applied directly, ever. They are that plant in its purest essence. So you need to be careful whenever you're using an essential oil. You need to make sure that you are diluting it with a non-CG oil. And this is where we get stuff mixed up, because you'll have all of the greatest essential oils locked and loaded and ready to go, but then instead of you getting a oil that's not gonna clog the follicle, you get one that does. So I really hope that makes sense with oils. Let's move on to serum. Serum is a liquid, non-water based oil. Now, these oils are normally formulated with different forms of silicone, and the purpose of a serum is to finish off a style. For example, whenever I would do a silk press, or not just me, anybody that's doing silk press videos, right before we put our client under the dryer, we take a serum and we wrap their hair in that. We'll coat their hair in a little bit of that serum, and then we sit them under a cool dryer. Why? Because a dryer with cool air is going to seal the cuticle, and that serum is going to make sure that it is taming those flyaways. It's making sure that it is reflecting that sunlight, so your hair is protected from heat damage from the sun, because yes, that's a whole thing. So a serum is very different. Serums don't necessarily go on the scalp. Now, dependent on the formulation though, serums can be used for the scalp, because some serums are formed with a really small molecular structure. Can't get that out. And so because of that, for that reason, depending on the carrier oils and things of that nature that the chemists use, certain serums can really do some serious work. I'll use for example, I'll leave a link in the description box below so you can see some of my favorite serums that I like to use, just so you can see the difference between a serum and then an oil, and then something that you would use to, seal in a style, because there is a very big difference. So far, let me know if it's so good. Let me know in the comments below if I'm confusing you, but this was not a part of the conversation, but it's a part of the conversation right now. Silicones and sulfates. Now, I know that this is a really big thing. I also know that Grammarly plays too much, And I don't know what happened, but obviously you could see that I know how to spell sulfates, but one of the sulfates decided to change the spelling, whatever. Okay, anywho. So whenever we're talking about sulfates will strip moisture and different nutrients that the hair needs from the hair, right? And then silicones can fill and block the cuticles and follicles. But I need you guys to remember that most of these things were found out by people, and remember that everything that we do in moderation. So let's tackle sulfates. When we're talking about sulfates, you guys, don't get mad at me when I say this, but it doesn't make any sense that everyone is so freaked out about sulfates, but nobody is scared to put apple cider vinegar on their hair every day. Apple cider vinegar is a natural acid, and it is definitely more harsh than sulfates. I'm sorry. I love you guys so much, but come on. The use of apple cider vinegar on the hair shaft on a regular basis is way more harsh than using a sulfate-based shampoo once a week. I'm sorry. I love you guys to pieces, but that's the reality of it. And on top of the how can I say this? The amount of times a week or the routine that we have for washing our hair, sometimes we need more sulfates in our life, okay? Because we use products that are so heavy in silicones. And speaking of silicones, we're really worried about silicones, right? But silicones used in moderation, there's nothing wrong with it. For example, I have high porosity hair and I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. And because I live in Las Vegas, Nevada with high porosity hair, Las Vegas, Nevada, they call it the Dust Bowl, because you can literally go outside and just be outside for a second, not running around or nothing, and be filthy by the end of the day just from the dust going around. And I have high porosity hair, which means that my cuticle is always open. So serums work great for me because they put a protective barrier on top of my high porosity hair. But remember, it's not clogging my follicle. Why? I'm not going months without washing my hair. I'm not going 3 or 4 weeks without washing my hair, and I'm not overusing the product. So everything done in moderation is safe, and depending on your porosity and your normal routines, there is nothing wrong with these products, you guys. You just have to know what you're doing. And once again, to be honest, I'm not trying to attack anyone, but we have to make it make sense. Sis. You can't be scared of sulfates, but you're not scared to put in a natural acid in your hair on a regular basis. You can unclog your sink with apple cider vinegar. You can clean battery acid off of a battery with apple cider vinegar. So we're not going to be more scared of sulfates in shampoo than we are of apple cider vinegar. I love y'all so much. If it's not hitting too hard, you know, okay, that's why I decided not to edit this part when I saw that, you know, Grammarly was tripping, because I'm like, if they see this little mistake, you can't be mad at me. I made this little mistake. I'm not going to edit this. And you see that little thing at the bottom? We in here live, okay? I need you to have a healthy growth cycle. In the description box below, I left a link to the video where I taught you guys what your natural hair growth cycle is. And this does not matter what the color of your skin is, you guys. It is vitally important that you know your body, you know your porosity, and that you know your skin type. You need to know if whether or not you have dry, oily, or combination skin. Know that the skin on your face doesn't differ from the skin on your scalp. And if it does, it is simply because you have not let your body do what it's supposed to do. What do I mean by that? Scalp cell turnover. Every 27 to 28 days, the skin on your scalp, it dies. And those cells refresh. They regenerate. So every 27 to 28 days, you have a brand new scalp. a brand new opportunity to make sure you're nourishing your scalp and giving it everything that you need. That's why I have this new journal out for you, so that way you can keep track of everything and you can have something tangible in your hand to look at, because it's very, very important. I also need you to know that you need to always have easy oxygen flow to the hair follicle. Do you see this top layer? That top layer of skin needs to be clear. If it's choked full of stuff, full of CG oils, we already talked about that, CG oils that are blocking the hair follicle, then nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. Your body already has a routine, and if you don't set one, then it doesn't know what to do. This is what I mean. I want you to really, really pay attention to this. I need you to look at this skin and picture this as the skin on your scalp. But if you got more melanin, then you know this was one of my favorite pictures. Okay, so the skin is a little light skin. It's even too light skin for me, but you just imagine this your color. Anyway, so this down here, this is where the hair bulb is. It is so vitally important, you guys, that you make sure all of this space on the side of the hair shaft within the hair follicle stay clear, because this little thingamajigger right here is the sebaceous gland, and within the sebaceous gland, the natural oil that your body makes called sebum lives. And right there, that sebum needs to be able to flow on the side of the hair shaft and out through the hair shaft and all the way up. But if you are not properly cleansing the scalp and if you're clogging the follicle, this oil never gets the chance to accumulate. And what ends up happening, once this follicle is too clogged, it can't breathe anymore, and then down here it's gonna die. And once the oxygen supply dies, then these blood vessels die too. And then here come all of our different forms of alopecia. So I know we want to stick to all of the habits that we've had over the years. We still want to use petroleum-based products like Blue Magic and stuff like that on the scalp. But the science is science. Right here, I want to show you your sweat gland. You see that little knot thing right there? That is your sweat gland. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I see a lot of people talk bad about certain hairstyles, like, oh, I went to get a silk press and then I went to work out and then it was like I didn't even, I wasted my money. Listen, it's not her fault. This is everyone's scalp. There is a sweat gland in your scalp, and some people have a very, very, very highly active sweat glands. So if you're one of those people that you can just clean up the house and you'll have a whole wet scalp, that means you're a person that has a very active sweat gland. So a silk press, my love, may not be for you. So it is not her fault if everything reverts back. I really need you to keep that in mind, and I need you guys to keep the follicle clear. I need the scalp to stay clear, and I need you to make sure that you are only putting CG oils on the hair shaft. They do not go on the scalp, because if they go on the scalp, they clog the follicles and they mess up this entire system that is working. Your only job is to make sure that the scalp stays clear so that you can have clean oxygen flow, and you are supposed to ensure that your body is getting what it needs from the inside, because I also need you to notice how you have this top layer of skin, right? But there's also a lot of other things as you keep going lower, and the further down you go, the more you see that it's attached to your blood supply, and your blood supply is directly affected by the things that you eat and the things that you put inside of your body. So I know we want certain products to work, and we'll spend all of these money on all of these products and stuff, like, oh, they're supposed to make my hair grow 15 inches. But at the end of the day, if the outside doesn't match the inside, you're gonna be a bald head skittle diddle with no hair in the middle. a bald head Humpty Dump with no hair in the front. All of those oils and butters do not go on the scalp, you guys. When I'm talking about this stuff, I'm only saying it because I've been studying it for my whole entire adult life. Okay, so if you have any questions, if you need, if you got some clarifications that you need some stuff clarified, then you can always leave a comment. I'm responding to everybody's comment. I'm not lying. I respond to everybody's comment. Okay, and if there's something that you feel like is a little bit too personal, go ahead and email me. If you stuck around this long, it's because you love me and I love you too. So go ahead and follow me on the Instagram, and then subscribe to my website, because if you don't get the notifications here on YouTube, you always get them on my website. I love you so much. Thank you for sticking around with me. Let me know what you think.